pivot to whatever you need to pivot tonight. So I said here, ideas are common. Everybody, even the poor man has ideas. If you ask him now to tell you his idea, he can tell you his idea. But the problem now is if very few people have the courage and the discipline to build them. So I'm hoping that people on the call tonight are people that, one, will leave here tonight with the courage and also the discipline to build the ideas that God have given them. Now, remember I said you're going to introduce yourself to me. I'm going to show you, there's something called, I classified it as a 5 levels of growth. So when I started initially, I wanted to start speaking on growth and how to scale. But if I go that way, a lot of people are going to be lost because many of us are in different stages of our growth. I'm going to show you the different stages of growth so that you know where you are. And when I'm explaining to you what it takes to scale, it'll be very easy for you. Okay? So the greatest investment you can ever make is your ability, one, to think, to lead, and to solve problems. Whatever idea you feel you came here with tonight, okay, that idea came out of your thoughts, and that idea should be able to build the capacity in you to lead and solve problems for a certain number of people. If that is not what the idea is leading you to, so before we won't continue, I think you should just, box it, bury it, and trust God for something good and new to come out of this program tonight. I told you I want to share something with you called the growth circle, okay? And like I said, there are 5 levels of growth. So when I'm going to start explaining the levels of growth so that when you know where you are, when I start teaching how you can scale, you can identify your level and move immediately to the next level. So if you're at the stock level, I'm expecting you to move to the starting level. If you're at the starting level, I want you to go to the growing level. If you're at the growing level, I want you to scale. And if you're at the scale level, I want you to multiply. I've gone through most of these stages. I'm at scaling. I'm between 4 and 5. Okay? Scaling and multiplying. So I'm going to explain it to you. So I'm going to start from stock. So for the business people, you're here tonight, you want to build something. I met somebody in church on Sunday that was telling me that, look, that she actually says she's stuck, that she's thinking of starting a business, but she doesn't know where to start from. It's a good place because you already have an idea and you want to start a business. So, fine. If you're a career person, you can be working, but you really don't know where it's headed. You're unsure of your career direction. You feel stuck in your current role. People are not recognizing your skill. Do you understand? So you're not happy about it. There's lack of confidence. So that is stage 1, the stock level, and you need help. So tonight, I want you to move to the starting phase, which is the next level I'm going to talk about. Now, that starting phase is, I have something, but it's not consistent. So you're a business person here tonight. Your income is not consistent. Money doesn't come in every month. You don't make sales every month. You're struggling. That's why you need the scale principle. You understand? So that you're either scaling up. I will explain to you some of the things you're going to scale up tonight to help you. So some of them is, like I said, the sales are small, your clients are few, your operations are not stable, your income is very inconsistent, and you keep doing the things by yourself. Okay, so that is the second level, the starting phase. It's normal, but I'm trusting God that by the end of this meeting, you're going to move to your growing stage. Now, for a career person, you have been working for 5 years, 8 years, okay? You're doing a good work, but you're not recognized. You're struggling to get promoted. You're constantly delivering value, but they keep overlooking you. There's no visibility. There are very few strategic opportunities. You're working very hard, but there's little result. It happens a lot. And if you're not careful, some organizations, they play politics. So if you don't understand it, you'll be playing the match against yourself. So you need to understand where you are and what you need to start doing. Please, everybody on the call tonight, I want you to know that the reason why you showed up today is to step into your next level of growth through the principle called scale. And when I explain it tonight, I want you to take it seriously and begin to do the things you said you should be doing. So the third level is the growth stage. So at this stage, you're already growing. Some of the trainings we've had in the past, there's a girl that showed up once and she's really complaining a lot. They are growing, but it's not consistent. And that kind of growth, if you're a business person, money is coming in, but you can't account for it. I had somebody, then that was talking about a lady that was growing And she went out, this kind of road that you're going for all kinds of exhibition, even international ones. And there's money to go for those exhibitions. So there's money to make the sales. There's money to produce the product. But at the end of the year, when she balances her account, there's nothing to show for all the efforts. So there are lots of pains at the growing stage, and she cannot scale like that. So at this level, okay, you find yourself, you're constantly fighting fires. You're constantly struggling to delegate. You're trying to balance your technical work with your leadership. Nothing works. You understand? As per structure. That's the growth stage. So it is normal. You're here tonight because we want to move to the next phase, which is the fourth one. So at this fourth stage is where the scaling happens, okay? And at this level, your business has started growing, okay? But your leadership is struggling because you've not built leadership. So at this point, you're seeing symptoms like team conflict. Your staff is giving you a headache. You're having decision fatigue because you're the only one that makes decisions. So it gives you headache. Your staff, they keep throwing, back passing balls to you. You give them things to do and they still come back to you and they're giving you the same assignment you gave them to do. So that is what happens at this stage. And you cannot scale. You know it. You cannot go beyond this because you're still dealing with team issues, staffing issues, and all that. So for career people, at this stage, you're already leading. You're leading a team. So like I said, you're leading, but your team members are frustrating you. It happens. I've led before. They will make sure they frustrate you. Okay? So if you don't learn how to lead by influence, it's going to be a problem. So even for career people, you can actually have decision fatigue. So we're going to look at some of the things that you can do. Then the final stage is the multiplying stage, which is where God wants us to be. And at this stage, you're looking at expansion, and that expansion does not need you. Okay, you open different branches, you open different chapters. Okay, yeah, so that is what happens here. So we're going to so that's the growth cycle. That's the growth cycle. So every one of us on this call, I want you to determine exactly where you are. I'm going to send the workbook later so that after the class, you can look at it so that you don't get distracted. And I want you to do some work after the class. So maybe before you sleep tonight or tomorrow morning, go through the workbook and find out where you are and decide exactly what to do. So remember what I said about the first stage. Okay, let's go back. So the first stage is your stock. Now, what happens at this stock stage is sight, clarity. At this point, that first phase I talked about, you don't know what to do. Okay, you don't know which business to start. You're very confused, or you understand, or maybe the career person, you don't know where your career is headed to. So this is the foundation. So anybody that wants to scale tonight, the first thing you must do is that you need to begin to see opportunities. Part of what causes you to scale is solving the problems that you see. Now, every transformation, every scaling, every level of growth starts with seeing what others cannot see. I hear people say you're leaving money on the table. And it's true because right under your nose, there are opportunities for you to make money, but you cannot see it. Right in your area where you're operating now, even in your office, there are opportunities for you to make money, but you cannot see it. So the first thing we need to do tonight is we need to start seeing opportunities in the things around us. And there are about 5 places you can see opportunities, but I'll just show you 3. Now, the first place you can see opportunity is first the problems that are hanging around you. So even you see that business that you're doing, there are problems within that business that if you solve them, it will help you to scale. You see that your career, there are problems in your company that if you solve them, it will help you to scale. And so you need to see opportunities and problems. For a business person, which other problems can I solve? For a career person, which problem am I solving that is beyond what they've given me in this office as a career person? So you need to be looking at it. And that is what Bolt did when we came up with Bolt. People don't have cars. But I mean, or they have cars, but they may not want to drive. So how can we get them into comfortable rides? And that was how Bolt came on. The same thing with, different things. So people, if you're on this call tonight, I know that God wants his people to prosper. But the more we keep praying and we don't think about the problems that we're going to own and solve, we'll keep being at the bottom of the chain. Okay? So we're going to trust God that as we go to bed, we're coming up with problems that we can solve. Now, the second one is change. There are people that hate change. You understand? But we end up forgetting that it is change that actually births opportunities. I remember when COVID happened. Now, for us as architects, when COVID happened, it was when I started calling my clients because something occurred to me. There were people that had money and they thought that the world was going to end. So my job then was to call them and say, this is your money, whether the world ends or not. Can we invest it in something? If it does not end, whenever COVID ends, at least you have investments. So we now got people thinking about doing their projects. And that is how during COVID, people were hungry. We were not hungry. You understand? Because we found the change as an opportunity for us to make business. So we were calling people. We did so many designs during COVID and we're just waiting. As soon as they called it off, we went to site. So most times change brings opportunities. We're looking at the economy in Nigeria. Things are changing. Which opportunities can you see in this current change and begin to milk it, do you understand, to help your business to scale? So that's the second one, change. Then the third one there is experience. So if you can match problems, change, and experience, discovering opportunities will not be a problem for you. Now, I'll give you an example about experience. So while I was working in that firm, I found out that there's no way I was going to grow beyond my level. I knew what my salary was then. I wasn't going to earn more than that because there were many of us sharing it. And that was when I started my company. So what did I start with? I started with my experience then because I'm an architect. So I was selling design solutions. Okay. So it was an opportunity for me to enter the market as an architect. There are people on the call tonight that you have lots of skills that you've not taken to the market. Lots of skills that you have not looked for. Who needs your skill to solve a problem for them so that you can earn money and also skill? So as you're on the call tonight, I want you to list 3 problems, okay, that your clients are facing, your customers are facing, your neighbors are facing, the country is facing, your boss is facing, the niche that your company that you're working for as a business person is facing, and write one problem that you're going to solve. God is a problem solver. He started in Genesis chapter 1. Okay, the earth was without form and void, and he partnered with the Holy Ghost to solve it. Next thing, the devil messed it up. He partnered with Christ and he came and solved it. You understand? So that is a problem solver. And we're going to trust God for the capacity to see opportunities in the things around you. Do you know you can sit down in your room and look around and you see opportunities in the things that are hanging around you? Okay, so that's the first one. See opportunities. Ask God to open your eyes to see opportunities. Now, the second thing is when you now see the opportunities, you start creating solutions. Creativity demands that you think. Creativity demands that you design. Creativity demands that you write. Okay? So I said here that people pay for solutions and not ideas. So you need to start with what you have. I'm going to give you an example. In John chapter 6, remember Jesus was preaching to 5,000 people. And I can bet you there were more than 5,000 because they only counted the men. So 5,000 people plus maybe, if assuming half of them came with kids, that's 2,500 plus their husband, at least a minimum of 7,000 people were there. And all of a sudden they realized that people were hungry. See 2 perspectives. The disciples said, send them home. But Jesus said, what do we have here already? And they started looking for who had 5 loaves and 2 fishes. Can you see? That's why I told you God is a problem solver. He would have sent them home. Sending them home is a solution, but is it the best one? So in order for you to create solution, you need to start thinking about what do I have? Now, when we talk about creating solutions, some of us may be like, we don't have anything, but that is where the issue is. And that is why I'm reading the scripture to you tonight. Jesus said, what do you already have? And they brought out the 5 loaves and 2 fish. He didn't focus on what was missing. Okay, he started with what was available. He blessed it. He organized people and distributed the food and added value. So I'm asking you tonight to start with what you have. So remember the first level. If you are the clarity level, which is the first one I mentioned, then you need to start seeing opportunities. If you see opportunities, own them as your problem. Then you can now go to the second level, which is creating solutions. That was when I said, at that second level, your sales, you're not making enough income, your sales are slowing down. You see, at this point, you need to start solving more problems for people. That is the only way you can get exchange for value and money can come into your pocket. So there are things you can leverage. You can see my screen. You can leverage your skills. You can leverage networks. You can see skills. Like I told you, I leverage my skills. I told you when I started. You can leverage your network. Who are the people around me that I can sell this thing to? There are tools that you can also use. There are assets you can use and your communities too. So tonight, I want you to write one solution that you can launch within 30 days, within 90 days. If you're on this call and you're not ready to think, forget it. Okay, the Bible says, as a man thinketh, so is he. So you better start thinking creative thoughts. You better start thinking scalable thoughts. You better start, let the things that come out of your mind. You see, do you know you can train yourself to start producing solutions? As soon as you get out and people are thinking, are talking, you get out and people are talking. What they are discussing is not your business. But because you're training your capacity to create solutions, okay, you start creating and thinking and preferring 3 solutions to the problem. That's how you build the skill about creating solutions. So if you're a business person tonight, okay, that is also how to scale. You train, you see, you shouldn't be the one solving problems by yourself. Your staff, train them to be solving problems. Nobody should bring any problem back to you. So when there's a problem, if they must come back to you, they are coming back with 3 answers to that problem. So you see that they're already making attempts to solve the problems and can now make input to what they're doing. So that's the second one, creating solutions. And so the third one, remember I've done C. I've done S. S is that you should see opportunities. Then C, once you see opportunities, you should start creating solutions. Now, once you start creating solutions, the third one is you must work with people, and you must work with systems. You cannot be analog anymore. You cannot scale with your analog systems. Okay? I said here, remember, you have ideas. That's the theme of this conference. But your ideas cannot scale if you don't start thinking systems. So how does this thing work with me limiting my interference? How does it work with me limiting plenty or numerous human interferences? So I created something I call parts. Okay. So at this level, you need people that are accountable, that can use resources, form habits, which is called company culture, and then systemize your processes. If you must scale, you see these things I've talked about must happen. So some of us may be at people level. You will need accountability. That's why people create HRs. That's why they have managers, people to hold people accountable. You need to start thinking about which technology am I going to introduce in my system, even as a career person. That work you're doing in that office, which technology can you get your office to introduce? I remember those days, we had to get the office to be ISO certified. You understand? Because we were thinking of also building our brand as an ISO certified company. And for you to be ISO certified, there are some, you understand, technology comes into it. Because we needed to document our processes and do a lot of things. So you need technology, you need habits, and that's your company. So for a career person now and for the business person. So habits are personal, but for companies, we call it culture. So what do you do in that company that everybody knows that this is our culture? Our culture here is that we don't insult people. Our culture here is that we don't lie. Our culture here is that we reward hard work. There are habits that we must form as a company. So that when people that don't understand those habits start to misbehave, the ones that understand you to correct them without you correcting them, then we can also build system. So, and I'm saying here, I'm talking about systems. So what is one system? What is one task that you're going to stop doing by yourself? Okay, and that is how we know that we're at least doing something with systems. Who am I going to employ next? How do I keep my people more accountable? Which technology do I need to upgrade? Before, we used to do, there's something we call renders. We used to do renders with the machines. So the render will take you, there's some renders that take the whole night. But with technology now, do you know you can render in 5 minutes? How would I spend my time? Do you understand? So AI is a plus to every business here. Is a plus to every career person. And the earlier you start to learn it, the better. There's this advert that they used to show, Cursive. I took the course, and I'm happy I took it because I know how Claude works. Is it Claude or Cloud? Claude. I understand Claude now. There's one they call Lovable for making websites. I think I took about 5 courses there before I now steps down. But at least I have an understanding of what Claude can do for me. I know that Gemini can answer mails for me. I know, do you understand? So I understand how these things work, and we're putting it inside our workflow as a business. It is making, see, what scale, so what scaling is all about is that which processes or parts, I just showed you now, are you following to systemize your process, shorten your work hours, and also earn you more money. So that is it. So you're going to align your people, and you're going to align your system. So if you're at stage one, I'm currently headed to stage 4. I want you to understand your path of growth. It can take you 6 months. It can take you 3 months. But because you know what is expected, you know what to do, and you know who you're looking for. So the fourth one, okay, so I've talked about S. I've talked about, that's S is seeing opportunities. I've talked about C for creating solutions. I've talked about A for aligning your people and your system through the paths, through the right paths. I've explained it to you, paths, PATH, people who are accountable, they leverage technology and they practice discipline habits while they follow repeatable systems. So that's parts. Then the second to the last one is leadership. Okay. Now, here I said leadership expands your capacity to make decisions, influence and develop people. So if you can see everything I've listed in number 1, 2, 3, it is only leadership that can drive it correctly. So you need to step up above this, you understand, above everything I've listed, the processes, the creativity, the seeing opportunities, and begin to watch your people see opportunities, watch your people create solutions, watch your people follow the path system and lead the process. One of the most important thing you need to scale is leadership. If you find a business that is not scaling, it cannot scale because it cannot grow beyond the capacity of the leader. It's not possible. And I tell people that, look, if I'm struggling to, there's sometimes there are things I want to do and maybe I find us struggling. I just tell myself, it's me, I'm the problem. Do you understand? Because if I had grown beyond this level, my team would have grown beyond that level. So I begin to seek information that will help me grow in leadership so that I can pull the people up. So for everyone on the call tonight, your leadership skill is the one of the most important things you're going to grow tonight. Do you know, because I understood this thing, I think it was about 3 years ago, I started reading books on leadership. Do you understand? I read books by Brian Tracy. I read by John Maxwell. I read by different books. How to lead difficult people, how to lead, And next week, I'm going to have a conversation on leadership. I'm going to share the link. Everything rises and falls on leadership. If people are doing well, it's leadership. If the pilot is asleep, the aircraft is going to crash. If the driver is asleep, somebody is going to crash. That is why the person driving the aircraft, flying the aircraft or driving the car, has to be somebody that has a capacity to make decisions, influence and develop people. Is a visionary. You understand? So there are certain leadership skills or things, there are words that should be going through your mind or should be in your domain if you're building leadership. Okay, some of those words are innovation, some of them like innovation, creativity, delegation, execution, stewardship, legacy, culture, team, productivity, decisions, partnerships, impact. It's a lot. Do you understand? So these are the things you should be thinking at each point. Now, why you should think about them is that so that as a leader, if you meet any roadblock, you're able to tell yourself, this is an execution problem. This is a legacy problem. This is an innovation problem. This is a strategy problem. This is a structure problem. This is a culture problem. This is a team's problem. You understand? You know exactly what it should be. So we need to look at our leadership capacity. Now, this leadership capacity applies to everybody, whether you're in level 1, level 2, level 3. Okay, so that is the L. And now we're going to talk about the E part. Do you know there are some of us that will just attain a certain level? You've earned 1 million and you park there. Who told you should park there? Do you understand? So the question is, what is the next level? We should be thinking about multiplication now. Genesis chapter 1, verse 28, the Bible says, be fruitful, multiply, replenish the earth, and have dominion. Do you understand? So we've discussed the first level. You're fruitful. Oh yeah, now it's time to expand. You've done well in Lagos. Are you considering Abuja? You've done well in Abuja. Are you considering Benin? You've done well in Benin. Are you considering to go across borders? Are you looking at, do you understand? What is the next level? So whether you're at level 1 or level 2, we should be looking at what is the next level. If I'm going to scale, I should be doing registrations in China now. I should be doing this here. I should be doing that now. Understand that expansion means multiplication. Okay, sorry, my slide is still stuck. Okay, so I'm saying expand your impact. That's what we're looking at now. Expansion means multiplication. So what it means is, can others deliver, teach, automate, replicate your work? So the question I'm going to ask you tonight is, how can you serve 10 times more people? How can you serve 100 times more people? How, sometimes I ask myself, Can I serve 1 million people? I shake because I can't. Meaning I've not built structure. So I'm trusting God for systems. I'll put it, and I'll go back and start working. For us to serve this number of people, because we offer services. If you're doing sale, I mean, if you're selling products, it may be easier. You just push out your products. But for service-based businesses, how can you get to 1,000? So as a career person, that's what you should be thinking. This our company, you're a career person. We're only serving 10 people. Low. What can I do here so we can get us to serve 50 and 100? So we should be thinking multiple. Where I am today, can I multiply it by 2? Where am I today? Can I multiply it by 5? What is your what is your multiplier or your multiplication factor? That is E, expansion. Everybody on the call tonight, multiply your current revenue by 2. Multiply your current salary by 2. Sure, you can even do 1.5, but please, can you multiply something tonight and make a decision to begin to work towards what the result that you have gotten? We've heard so much about 10x results. Don't do 10x, just do 2x, do 1.5x. But can you multiply it and begin? You see, when you now get the figure, that's when you know you have a prayer point. That's when you know you have work to do. That's when you have to start seeing the gaps that you have. So each year, what is your multiplier? What is the factor you're using to multiply? I'm going to show you okay, multiplication. So I said every apple, I'm sure you can see my screen. I said multiplication. So for you to scale, you need to multiply. That's why I said you must have a multiplication factor. If it's times 2, if it's times 1.5, if it's times 10. That's powerful. If it's times 50. Well enough. So I said, yeah, every apple contains seeds, and every seed can become a tree. Everything God created was designed to multiply. Is your career, your business, your leadership, and knowledge multiplying. That's the only way you can scale. That is the only way. Anytime you think scale, think numbers. And with that number, add times to it. What is your multiplier? I call it the apple effect. You understand? And I've told you here, every apple contains a seed. Now, let me shock you. If you tomorrow buy an apple and open it, there are some seeds that are 5. I mean, apples that have 5, some have 7. And I found out that one seed of an apple can produce a tree, and the trees are very big. The beautiful thing about it is that I now found out that one tree can produce 150 apples in a year, 200 apples in a year. For people, well, I hear 500. I don't know whether that's possible, but you can Google it. They said 500 apple in a year, and it's God that created that seed, that tree. I mean, that's a fruit. Be fruitful, multiply, replenish the earth, and have dominion. So the question is, how will I multiply the results I'm having in my career, in my business, in my leadership, in my knowledge? What am I multiplying? What am I multiplying? The scale up challenge tonight is at only your level. The only thing you can get for yourself is your results. But if you're going to scale, then you have to do it through systems. And multiplication only happens when you do it through people. So if you're the kind of person that does not like people, it's a problem. So I'm going to ask you one more question. Write one action that you would take in the next, you can take in the next 24 hours, or 18 hours, or 72 hours. So I'm going to recap. I said the first level is you don't have directions. Okay. You have to prayerfully begin to seek insights, lights, opportunities. You have ideas. So where you begin to look into the market. Who can I serve? Which problems do they have? Then you begin to create solutions. You begin to align your people and your tools. Then you can lead and expand. So this is everything I've explained tonight. A smooth sea has never made a skilled sailor. It's not possible. What makes skilled sailors are when they meet a lot of turbulences in the sea, they fight with their rudder and all that, and they land the ship. Okay, so if you're not ready to wade the storms and do what it needs, because it takes a lot of effort. Okay, it takes a lot of confidence, consistency, boldness, and tenacity. Okay, to produce the results that you're looking for. So the question you're going to ask yourself tonight is: can my knowledge multiply? Can my leadership multiply? Can my business multiply? Can my influence multiply? Can I develop the leaders by my activities? Can I build more leaders? Okay, just understand that if you want to succeed, or if you're working alone, you can succeed. But if you want multiplication, then you can begin to work with others. So I'm asking you the question: what is that one thing that you're going to implement today and take control of to accelerate your business and your career? Okay, so God bless you. I'm done. If you have any questions, you can ask me. So I said success is producing results for yourself. I need to stop sharing my screen. Okay, please just hold on. So success is producing results for yourself. Okay, and I said scale is producing results through systems, and multiplication is producing results through people, and dominion is leaving the world a better place because you were here and you did what you were supposed to do. So thank you.